Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Thursday, May the 11th. It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it is time for Life with Shenita. And today I am your co host. My name is Angelique Wilkins. And we're going to be going around talking with 7 different people from different ethnic backgrounds so we can share in a special edition of Life with Shenita celebrating mothers. So today we have several guests from different ethnic backgrounds that are going to share precious memories about their mothers. And we're going to wait for a few of them to come in and get started. All right, guys. And another thing I want everyone to be aware of for this podcast, if this is your first time tuning in, our goal is always to educate, inform, inspire, and empower our audience. So if you have any comments or questions that you want to share throughout the podcast, make sure you are commenting below as well. All right, we're going to get started. All right, so the first thing I want to do is just really talk about motherhood in general and the purpose of us having this panel today. So one thing we wanted to do is we didn't want to just have a podcast about Mother's Day. We wanted to be able to talk about Mother's Day from different perspectives, from different backgrounds, from different walks of life, because motherhood is different for everyone. Everyone's experienced different things. Everyone's had different people that they look at for their mothers. But in addition to that, there's so many different mothers from around the world that have different upbringings, different memories, different traditions within their families and within their backgrounds. So the purpose of us having these different cultures on today's panel is for us to get a different perspective, a wider scope of motherhood. So I'm looking forward to hearing these different memories that will be shared today. Just for me, myself, I grew up where my mother was a hustler. She was a grinder. She worked so hard, and she was mainly a single mother throughout her entire, adulthood. And just to see her as a woman strong, that is really part of the reason I am the woman that I am today. And I feel that, not only for her, but her as an African American woman, she was never ever soft to me. And in general, when she had, something she dealt with, I never really even saw her cry, and it's sad that, in today's society as African American women, we have always, been kind of led to believe that we have to be strong and we have to not, show any vulnerability. But I feel like today in today's culture, especially now with a lot of movement that has gone into place, we've been, allowed a little more grace to speak about, hey, as a mother, I'm not okay. I am struggling. I am having a difficult day. That's okay, and I'm glad that we are encouraging that more. I feel like more mothers should allow themselves to be vulnerable to say, hey, I didn't get that laundry folded today, and it's okay. But hey, it might get done tomorrow. It's me. I'm a working mother. I am a mother of 3. And I pretty much work a full-time job. In addition to that, I have several other, hobbies and businesses that I do. I'm a tax professional as well. I do vinyl shirts as well. And it has been a lot, to juggle a lot of the things that I am passionate about. And there have been times that I have had to sacrifice different things. But I feel that the most important thing with being a mother is researching and looking into those things before you commit to them. As a businesswoman, work life balance is something that's really important to me. I always have to find a great way to maximize my time and my time management skills. And it is difficult. Sometimes I have to decide, do I want to go hang out tonight with my girlfriends, or, pay for it in the morning when I'm a little sleepy going into cheer practice with my daughters. But I feel like, being able to have a good support system, being able to have good communication with your friends, to even let them know, hey, girl, I ain't seen you in a month, but I still love you. That's the most important thing as a woman, to still have those connections, have that support so you can have that work life balance. Definitely. Has anyone ever dealt with that? Jared, how you doing?
I am amazing, Angel. How are you this
I'm
evening?
doing good. Carrie, how are you doing?
Hey there, I'm well. How are you?
Doing great too. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Good.
I just got
Angie?
back from San Antonio last night at 10 p.m. So
Ooh. Angie, how are you? Thank you
Doing
for
great.
joining us.
Thank you.
Raquel, thank you for joining us.
Hello. Hi. Thank
I
you for
was,
the invite.
you're welcome. I was just talking about, just in general. We're going to, of course, get into our motherhood topics for today, but just me personally, I'm a businesswoman and I'm a mother of three. And I am constantly trying to find that good balance between work and life, and not going a whole month without seeing my homegirls, or having intimate time alone away from the children. And just having that good time management, that good support system, is really important. But I even mentioned in the past my mother. As I was a young child, she would make those sacrifices, to not have that time, to not, take on that extra promotion, because it would take away from those type of things. And I feel like now in today's society, we do have more opportunities to have that balance. How do you guys feel about that?
I think I would say that I read the book the one thing, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. And in the one thing it says that there is, the balance in life is a myth that we create a counterbalance between one area of our life or others, whether it's our business, between our business and our personal life, or it can be our health or whatever the case may be. But we just create a counterbalance. We just need to be aware and intentionally bring ourselves back to this counterbalancing act, that we see it as a balance, but it's actually creating that counterbalance. Because there's sometimes when we need to go full on our business because whatever the case may be, we have a special project, or we have clients that need us, or whatever it is. But then we can't forget our family. We can't forget ourselves, taking care of our health. And in that time, like you said, for just relaxation or
Hmm.
peace and quiet, or time with our loved ones,
Right.
and being present.
Hmm.
So given that 100% at whatever it is that we need, and just try to counterbalance as best as possible so that we can create a better overall, a better life for ourselves.
Ooh, well said, Raquel. Real said. Thank you so much for giving that feedback on that. I definitely agree, and I got to look at that book. What was the name of that? Say it again, so for the people that
It's
might want to read it.
Yeah, the name is The One Thing,
The
and
one
it
thing.
focuses on one thing at a time, doing it very well to create that domino effect for
Ooh,
success. And it starts the book in the first page. There's a little diagram that says it's have little steps chasing two rabbits, and it says if you try to chase two rabbits, one of them is going to get away.
ooh,
So focus on that one thing every time, and once you master that, then go and focus on the next one. and create that domino effect to achieve success in life.
Awesome. Thank you, Raquel, for sharing that with us. I just want to thank everybody for participating today. And we want to give everybody the opportunity to go around the room and introduce themselves. And since it is, tonight's topic being celebrating mothers from around the world, and we have so many different backgrounds that are in the room today, I want to go around and have everybody spend about maybe 60 seconds introducing themselves and telling us a little bit about your mother. Who wants to go first?
Hello, guys. Before you get started, good
Yeah.
evening, everyone.
Good
Ladies
evening.
are always first. So, Jared,
Yes.
you're going to hold out for the ladies, right?
Absolutely. I'm just honored and humbled to be on the call with such amazing women. So I'm here supporting. I'm your
Thank you,
support staff.
Jared.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Jared, and welcome everyone. Thank you, Angel, for being
You're
such a wonderful
welcome.
co-host while I
Thank
adjust to
you.
being back in the city.
Welcome.
So, where do
All
we
right.
start?
So,
How about
ladies
we start
first.
with
Who's
two?
going first?
Two?
This is my first time on your show. So um my name is Tu Tran, and I originally from Vietnam. I came here when I was 11 years old, so the time that I live in America is more than the time I live in Vietnam. So now I've been in America for like 30 years now. So I came here with my parents, my mom, my dad, my brother. We have a very small family. I'm the youngest one, and I only have my brother, no sisters. Um, and now, well, my dad passed away like 7 years ago, so now I live with my mom, and she's my, you know, like she's my idol. She's my friend, like my best friend, and we share with each other everything. And you have only one mom, so I kind of like cherish every moment that I live with her. I count it as a blessing to have her around, and to share my life with her and what I go through. And so I really love her so much. My mom really, um like you said, my mom is a very active woman. She you know sh Now she's retired, but she's busy on the time, like from morning to night. Like she plays the organ. She learned how to play that by herself, the music. And she even composed. And she sings. And then she has the whole garden that she take care of. Like she has a lot of she likes roses, so she plants a lot of plants around the house. And she has a senior community that she goes to. um she's always busy, and she exercises. She really takes good care of herself, so I'm really blessed with that.
Yes. Well,
um
hold that thought too, because I can imagine you've got some great things to share about your beautiful mom. Hold that thought. Hold that
okay.
thought for me. And we're gonna move around to the next person, and that's Angie, Alberta. But thank you so much too.
Okay.
Lovely. I can't wait to hear more.
Yes.
So, my mom, her name was Marietta Catalani, and she passed away on June 1st in 2018 from cancer. She was from German descent. Her dad came over from Germany when he was 18. He was a German Jew, and so she had that influence growing up. Um, she and I butted heads a lot when I was growing up. I was the only girl and had two brothers, and it wasn't until I started having my own children, that that relationship really turned around. I mean, she was always there for me growing up, but it just seemed we clashed a lot. Um, and then after I had my children, um, just the relationship she had with them, just from their birth on, she was just their second mother. Um, and she and I just had a complete flip in our relationship. Um, she was this positive role model for me, which she had always been, but I was able to see it as I got older. Um, Family and faith is, was the most important things to her that she lived by. She was very active in our Catholic Church, um, and she believed in forgiveness. Um, she believed in open communication, um, and she had lifelong friends. The friends she had were friends that she went to college with, that they would still get together every year, and get together as a group to see each other. Um, and now some of those ladies communicate with me. Um, Although I've never met them physically, they call and check on me to, um, because she was their friend. Um, she The courage and strength that she showed throughout her cancer journey was just, I can't even describe what I saw, um, and I'm just so proud to be her daughter. You know.
Awesome. That's a beautiful story.
That was beautiful, Angie.
Yes. Carrie?
Hi, everyone. Thank you again, Dr. Shenita, for having me on tonight. And thank you as well, Angel, for welcoming me. My name is Carrie Ford. My mom is from Grenada in the Caribbean, small island in the West Indies. It's a 13-mile island, very small. Um, I grew up with her and my dad and just me. I was an only child growing up, but I would definitely say my mom was a mother to many. I always got to see that in her. She was an educator since she was 19 years old. So I got to see her work with so many children, help so many families, touch so many lives, of course, my own included. And it has always stuck with me to just continue to bless others in that way and to know that my joy is not just for me and my cup runneth over to pour into others. So I learned that from her. I loved my experience of getting to see her navigate adulthood and navigate an American culture all at once as I was growing up. So now that I'm navigating adulthood, I get to see, like, oh, that was a hard thing to do. Or can you imagine learning to drive at 35 or something like that? That it was really a wonderful experience, and to relate to her in that level now, our friendship has grown so much. We had a very strong relationship before, but we are definitely best of friends now, and I cherish her so much because of that.
And I had the privilege of meeting your beautiful mother
Yes,
and your handsome dad.
yes, they adore you.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you for
Raquel?
sharing, Carrie.
Okay, so I am as I was when we were talking earlier, I share that I am originally from Venezuela, and that is where my mom is. My parents are from, my entire family. Um, First of all, my mom is 97 years old. I am the baby of six, and I basically grew up as an only child because she had me very much late in life. And by the time I was born, I had two of my brothers were already have gone to college. The third one was getting ready to graduate from high school and go to college. And so from about 10 years old, I grew up by just with them. And what I admire about my mom was and still is that she always went out to she was a stay-at-home mom, but at the same time she always had these little things that she was doing to make her own money. So she would knit, she would crochet, she would make macrame, whatever you call that macrame thing, just so that she sold Avon. She would make it happen, so that she could have, my dad always took care of us, the bills, the school, everything, but she will always make her own little money. And even right now at 97 years old, every day she gets up and she's creating something with crochet. She's making something. She's making little dresses, little hats, little scarves, something. So is that hard, that, the having that hard work and dedication and always serving. And even to now, you would think that, she's just waiting for people to wait on her because, I'm old, and she's always, whenever I go to see her, it's like, would you like some tea? Do you want me to make you some coffee? Do you want something to eat? She wants to always serve. So she's been definitely, have the servant spirit in her, and um, just a loving type personality, always wanting to take care of people.
Wow, what a
So
blessing. 97 years old, still moving, still cognitive, still doing
yes,
things. You are truly blessed to still have your mother. So that's
yes,
a great, great story. Thank you so much. And so
thank
look,
you.
look, we have two amazing men, ladies, in the
Yes.
audience, that I'm so proud to have on here with us to talk about their beloved mothers. Before we do that, Angel's mother just said hello to
He
everyone.
did.
She's my
Hey,
cousin.
mom.
She grew up with us, and so she had two mamas,
Yes, I
two daddies,
did.
and so it's good to see her live as well. So, gentlemen, Jared, will you kick off the Gentleman series and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your beloved mother.
Absolutely. First of all, I'm so happy to see the other gentleman get on the line. I was sitting here nervous, Shenita. I was, whoa, boy, I was nervous. So, but good evening, everyone. And Angel, excellent job hosting at the very beginning, and just
Thank
hearing all of
you.
y'all's stories is so. It just really makes me think about my mom. It's like she's a combination of each and every one of your moms, and I do have. An amazing mother. I'm a sergeant in the fire department. I live here in Atlanta, Georgia, in particular Riverdale, and I came to Georgia about 21 years ago, but was raised in New York City. And my mom was, oh, so I, I get chalked up talking about my mom. I don't know about you all. Pops, I can get whoo, whoo, whoo. But when it
Right.
comes to mom, it's just something about
It,
right
it
here
hit home.
that
It hit
touches me.
home.
Yes.
My mom is, she's now 80 years old. She just turned 80 yesterday. And married for over 58 years.
Mm.
And so um, her whole adult life was been with my father, and 11 kids. 11 kids from the same man. At least that's what they tell us, right?
Well,
No,
look, Jared, one thing my dad said, he said, you always know it's mama's baby, but it might be daddy's maybe.
as we said,
I'm
we
not
always
saying that.
joke.
Look, I'm not saying that's your story, but I'm just saying.
Hey, look, we always joke about that. We always look at which one you look like, but it's 11 of us, all 11, six girls, 5 boys, and we were raised in a two-bedroom house in New York City. If anyone knows about New York City, the house is extremely small. Okay, so
Wow.
we had to learn a lot of family. I heard someone say their mom was family and faith, and I would like to say my mom was faith and then family. It was her faith that helped her to raise her family. She chose not to have a career. Her career was her family. She was a stay-at-home mom, but like I think Raquel's mom, she was always hustling. She taught us she was a Mary Kay lady. You know what I mean? She was the lady. She worked at Bird On. She always had some part-time job, but she made her part-time job that it was a job. Her family always came first. One thing I remember about my mom was that she made every event in our life as a young one. It didn't matter, you know. And out of 11 kids, what happened was, I had to be special. I'm number 9 out of 11, right? So I'm on that lower end, right? So in order to stand out, I had to do something different. Hint, hint. No one else knew I was doing it just to stand out. But everybody else was into R&B and rap and things at that time. Well, in order to get my mom's special attention, I decided to like classical music. Well, why did I like classical? Not because it was great and I really loved it. I just knew that my mom would give me extra time. So I got orchestra visits. I got taken down to the symphony in New York and things like that. And so I got specialized time with my mom one on one on the train where we can just spend time together. And so those are the moments I remember most from my mom. The fact that even though she had 11 kids, she spent specific time with each and every one of us. You could not say everyone thought they were there, were my mom's favorite. But in reality, we were all treated the exact same. She just truly loved us. And I can talk about my mom for hours, Shenita. So I'm going to stop right there.
Yes, beautiful. I love when men talk about their mothers. So I'm so glad to have you and David. David, I know, I'm so glad you were able to join. So please share with us about your beautiful mom.
Thank you, everyone, and I'm wishing Happy Mother's Day to all mother out there in advance. And thank you, Dr. Shinana, for having this. All right, mother. I love my mom, truly. But it's so sad that she's gone. She passed away in 2015. But however, she taught me everything I know, everything. So, backbone of the family, because my dad is always traveling. My dad is not always around. You know, my dad spent most of his time in United Kingdom as a lawyer. So my mom, she's the one taking care of home, and we are four in numbers. I'm the last born. So just like the gentleman that talked ahead of me, there's no favorite, but I'm considered the favorite one in the family. So my mom will call me and say, David, oh, we have to cook. When she's cooking, I will be there. And my elder sisters and brother, they wonder how I get to know how to cook because I'm always at the kitchen helping my mom. Um, Kitchen, I'll be the one she will send to the market. So I know the prices of almost everything.
I love it.
So as she's running the house, I'm running it with her. So I'm cooking, I'm doing house chaos, and from there, then in the evening, almost every time, that's the part I don't really like that much. But almost every time we have to go to the church. Almost every time because she's serving the church and she's educator. So educational. So she is the education director for Lagos State, Nigeria. So my mom on her bed, half of the bed is half part she sleep on, half part books. She loves books. Oh my God, she loves books. So we all grew up reading. I just the same way I took after her. Anything I lay my hand on, I just want to know. I want to know more because that's who she is. She tell me, okay, pick that book. You will read, After school, she will discuss with us. So we're starting our own school. Once we're done with the one in the school, so we're starting another one at home. And with that, I gained so much. I learned so much of things from art, from Christianity, how to live life, business. As she's doing that, she's engaging in business, all sort of business. My mom, she's in real estate, farming, small petty business, even importing and exporting. She was there. She was just doing everything,
Love it.
everything. There's no since I knew my mom. I can say only just one time that I noticed that this woman, I thought maybe she's from another planet because she doesn't get sick. She's always on the go, always on the go. So one time I saw her, she was lying down on the bed. It's very unusual of her. And I asked mom, what is going on? I said she's resting. I said, resting, unlike you. So what is going on today? Like you said, you are resting. She worked for like 35 years. She worked as a teacher and she retired. And from there, not even a day, they say, okay, let me take a personal time. She resumed at church and she's going everywhere, connecting. She is the one grouping the family together, calling every one of us. His elder sister, the one in Canada, and there's another one in Nigeria. That is a twin sister. And she just brought every one of us together. With
That's
my
awesome.
mom, there's no dulling movement. It's always something new. You will learn something, you will gain something. And there's one particular moment, like I mentioned earlier, that she's so much into this religious Christianity or something. And we are going one day, and it happened that we are inside a commercial vehicle, and I have some of my friends there. Then I was at secondary school. I was still a little bit, younger in my teenager. And my mom just started, I had to God be the glory, everyone. We thank God. I was like, we thank God for what? And she started preaching. So when I got to the school, my friends, they were like, so your mom is a pastor? I said, no, she's not a pastor, that I don't even know what happened. So that's my mom. I love her. And I continue. She also served people. She's into needy, helping people in need. She called one day and said, I want you to continue this. I don't know, maybe she knows that she's going. She called and said she want me to continue this. Like any position you find yourself, always help people out there. Does not matter. And since then, I've been doing that. There's nothing I can go extra mile for my friends, family, relative. It does not matter anyone. So I took that from her. And also, my mom, she came for a visit twice. And the second time she came, I said, Mom, will you please just for maybe a month spend a time with me? Instead of you going everywhere, you'll be serving people, connecting to dots, reaching out to people, giving your things. Even up until the time that our personal house, she gave it to a church to use. And she retired to the back. There was a building in the front of the house, and she asked the church to use the front. So, and she moved back to the building. So that's my mom. She would give anything. And I said, Mom, could you please spend some time with me? That you have been going everywhere. At least you have retired now. She said, Oh, I got to do something. I will come back. And that was the last time I saw her. So I thank God for
Yes.
every mother out there making their own and doing things that they are extraordinary. So that is all I can share for now about my mom.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you for
And
sharing, David.
yes, thank you so much. And just
Beautiful.
listening to each one of you all share about your mother just brought joy to my heart. And I'll say, and I'll share a little bit. Angel, I'm gonna let you share a little bit about your mom and your grandma, and then I'm gonna share
Mhm.
about my mom. And then we'll go into a few questions that we have. So Angel, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so my mom and my relationship really got stronger, kind of like to what Angie said earlier, as I got older, and really could understand just where my mom's, setup was originally as a child and the different roadblocks and circumstances she faced that made her the way that she was as a mother to me growing up, because her mindset was hustle, 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 grind, grind, grind. And as a mindset of that, she had to, as a single parent. I was the oldest of three. So when I was born, my mom's first instinct was support, take care, provide. So with that in mind, as a kid earlier on, I felt like, man, I wish my mom did have more time. Or, I didn't really understand why she wasn't, able to be, like Jared's mom at every single event, for me. But it wasn't until I got three kids of my own that are in everything, and me trying to have that work life balance, like I started off by saying, where I was like, I can't make it at everything, but I got you on the gymnastics lessons, or I can make every other, cheer event. I didn't get to appreciate that and understand, just her being able to make those sacrifices and do those things for me, by working that extra job to allow me the opportunity. That was her way of showing that love. But, in a hindsight, I was able to create a wonderful relationship with my grandmother, who was, there as a second mother figure to me. And, she recently passed last year. So David, when you were saying all those wonderful things about your mother, I was just like, oh man, I know he feels like I feel. I'm always able to reminisce on, my grandmother. She came from Evergreen, Alabama. I don't know if you guys eat Conecuh County sausage, but it's from the Conecuh County sausage place. And she always talks about her upbringing and just being a hard worker on the farm, and just her loving nature, which led her to be a nurse, what my mom was. So hence the work schedule and the classes and those things. But I feel like her and my grandmother had such a strong relationship where, my grandmother was able to be there for me, and, be there to support my mother and help her reach her goals, while also setting that strong, positive mother figure in my life. So as I look back on my relationship with my grandmother, many of my memories are really her caring for others. And I feel like that's one thing that we all have in common today on the panel, is how our mothers cared for others, some of which were their own children, some were of other people's children. And, one thing in particular would be my clothes. I would always want to just throw them away. And my grandma would tuck them away and send them away to somebody. And I'm like, who are you sending my clothes to? She's like, I'm sending them home to your cousins and your cousins. And it wasn't until like one family out and I saw, like, those my jeans. And it was even those small things that she would do, where she would pop into family members' houses and like, hey, I got some clothes for you. I see your daughter's getting older. Here's something to help you out. Just those small things. When they say it takes a village, she was part of many people's villages. And I think that's one thing that I aspire to do. I'm known as Auntie Angel to everybody. I'm a recreational cheer coach as well. So I'm always Coach Angel or something. And so I always aspire to be that positive mother figure in other children's lives, just like my grandmother was to my country cousins all the way up home, or when she would do other things for people in the church and around the community. So I think that's one thing. That sacrifice was another thing too, that I heard everybody also mention, how all of our mothers had something they sacrificed, whether it was, time from something they wanted to do for themselves, or just being able to be at everything. I think that's one thing. As mothers, we are always willing to make that sacrifice for our love, for our family.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. I am just so grateful and so honored to share this evening with each and every one of you all. Myrtle was like family. Her grandmother, Myrtle Wallace, was like family to us. And so Tammy, her mother, Angel's mother, grew up with us. And when I think about my mother, who is also deceased, this year it will actually be 22 years on the 4th of July that she passed away. And so I just am grateful that my mother instilled love for family and a love for God. And so what you see in me is a reflection of her. I'm just not as wonderful as she was, if I could say that myself. I remember my mother being up at 4:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Listen to this. She would wake us up maybe 5:30 after she would do her scripture and do her prayer and fix breakfast. And we would get up and have breakfast, hot breakfast every morning, Monday through Friday, and even on Saturday and Sunday. And we were in private school from 1st to 12th grade, which meant we didn't ride the school bus. So that meant she had to take us to school before she went to work and pick us up. And so I just remember the sacrifice her and my dad made for us. And sometimes I think about that, like, if I could be half the mother or half the woman that my mother was, I would be an incredible woman. So I think we all have such great examples just listening to our stories. We can't help but to be incredible people because we were raised by incredible mothers. And so that's why it was important for us to celebrate mothers from around the world, because all the different backgrounds and the way they grew up, the ethnic backgrounds, the cultural backgrounds, the religious backgrounds, all of that makes all of us who we are, you know. And so I wanted us to celebrate those wonderful people who we are a reflection of. So with that being said, we have a question, and I know Angel is going to ask that question of all of us. So Angel, I'm going to let you go with the next question for each person
All
to give
right.
a brief response.
Okay, so everyone, a brief response, keep it about 60 seconds. So, if there was one piece of advice that you would share with your children that your mother gave you, what would it be?
I'll
Who
share.
wants to? Okay,
I'll
all
share.
right, Carrie.
I actually thought about this not too long ago. My mother always treated me like I was priceless, and I've always felt that, and I still feel that. But she told me early on, "You're not a $100 bill. Everyone is not going to love you. Everyone is not going to treat you the way I treat you, and you have to know how to not take that personally, and not let that determine your worth at all." So that has really stuck with me. And I tell
Ooh,
it to everyone else. I tell it to teenagers going through issues with their friends. And hey, you're not $100 bill. No one's going to think of you and think of you first all the time. You have to put you first and you have to set your own price.
ooh, that's good
Oh, that's
advice,
good.
Carrie.
Woo,
I'm gonna have
woo.
to use that on my three daughters.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a teachable moment.
Yes, yes, gems. Thank
Mm,
you for sharing, Carrie.
sure.
Who else has some advice that they would want to share
Yes,
that their
thank
mother
you so
gave
much.
them?
I think I will go. Thanks so much for that. Um, the advice that I want to give that I learned from my mother is the way she brought us up, and that is what is in the Bible. The Bible says you should train up a child the way it should grow. When it grow, they will not depart from it. However, my mother taught me the path of Christ right from small, and I've been living with those. Even when I find myself, I'm from Nigeria, when I find myself here some 13 years ago, anywhere I am, I still carry that with me. And I'm going to pass it. I'm even passing it to my children. Not I'm going to pass. I'm already doing that and teaching them the way of the Lord. So, because I know once we have that, when they grow, they will not depart from it. So, me, I'd not depart from it. I'd not expect my children to depart from that way of the Lord. So as they continue to go, whatever they are doing, they are mindful and they continue to go in Christ and doing their things. And with that, the sky is the limit, because when you commit everything to God's hand, He's able to bring it to unexpected end. So you just do what you need to do and leave the rest for Christ, and it will lead you in the right path.
That is
Thank you.
so
That's
true.
beautiful. That's
Thank
beautiful,
you.
David.
Yes, indeed. That's
Thank
the
you for
foundation.
sharing. Raquel, what about you? What's some good advice that your mother gave you?
One of many. I'm sitting here and I was like, okay, which one should I say?
What's
I
the
said
most
one.
one that
Right.
comes out?
But the one that I think has um, shaped me as who I am as a person, in that I am my job now, and what I'm being very conscious and intentional about to teach my two children, and not now, they're adults now, but it's something that I always taught them because I learned it from my mom and my dad too. But my mom always gave back. We never had we didn't have extras per se. We grew up at, my dad was a labor worker for the oil company right down at the bottom of the pole. Uh, my mom, as I mentioned, she was a stay-home mom. She just had her little side gigs, as we say now. But she always gave back. We had people, I remember since I was a little girl, that I would hear people would come and knock on the door or knock at uh, the little gate porch, um, that would say, you know, do you have something to eat to give me? And it didn't matter if it was our last pack of rice or if it was the last whatever pack of sugar or the last eggs. She will find something that she would put in a bag and she would give to them. Later on in life, my family, we owned some bakeries, through business, with my brother and brother-in-law. And so people in our town knew that we that our family owned the bakery. So they will come to the house and knock on the door, and they will call my mom. They knew who to call. They would
Mhm.
call my mom and they would
Get the
say,
hookup.
yeah, her name is Mary, not Mary, but Mary. So Senora Mary, do you have some bread? Can you give me some bread? They knew that she was going to have bread if she didn't have anything else. And she always did that. And if she went to church, her last bill of whatever it was, she would put it in the donation basket, even if she was left with nothing. It reminds me of the scripture where it says that the widow that gave her last 2 coins, and she gave more than the rich man that gave whatever hundreds of whatever uh, currency at that time. And that's who I see in her. So now bringing it forward, what I've done is that and Shanita knows this, that I'm always involved with giving back to the community. We have our family have, and this is something that I taught my kids. We participated for over 12 years plus. We have participated in the Angel Tree program with the Salvation Army, so that we can give, do Christmas gifts for the kids at Christmas time. We created a scholarship fund that I'll tell you all about later on if we get to that question. But we created a scholarship fund to give back to kids in the community that want to participate in extracurriculum activities after school that their families cannot afford it. So all of this desire to give back and use my business, my real estate business, as a vehicle to do that comes from what I saw growing up with what my mom taught me.
Awesome.
So
Beautiful,
Selfish,
Raquel.
selfishly living, not being selfish, selfless.
Yes. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing, Raquel. Who wants to go next? Jared. Tell us
Um,
about how your mama. I know y'all got some. I
uh,
know she had some advice with them 11 kids. I'm
oh
just
goodness
thinking about
me.
it. You when you said 2 bedroom apartment in New York, it just made me think of the hotel we had in the Queens. We had a
Mhm.
trip. Me and my husband went to New York first time, and we had a travel agent get book us a room in Queens. That room was about this little. So I can only imagine that
Mhm.
2 bedroom with 11 kids. So
What
if
that was like. Mm.
what advice did your mother give you that just really still stands with you today?
Oh man, she gives so much, and like you said, just a little quick story about the two-bedroom house. You know, we had an attic and we had a basement. So the oldest girl had the attic, the oldest boy had the basement. One
Oh,
bedroom was my mom and dad. The other bedroom was split down with a sheet. So the boys had this side, and the girls. So we would fight. You know, we would push them older ones. I know y'all need to get up out of here so somebody can rotate up and out the house. So it was really a fight. But see, my parents taught us how to get along. My mom was really about get along. You know, and I think about some of the principles, what major life lessons she taught was, what goes around comes around. She always used to say that what goes around comes around. What you put out there will come back to you. And it reminds me of a Bible principle, the golden rule. You know, treat others how you want to be treated.
Yep.
And so that was major. I mean, my mom was all about how you treat others. You know, relationships were more important than anything else. You don't burn bridges. You always treat people the right way. And then she even added something to the golden rule, and it was like, I know you're not supposed to add to Bible, but but she added something. She said, "Don't treat others how you want to be treated. Treat others how they want to be treated." And I didn't understand that at first. And in order for that to be effective, she said, well, you have to get to know and understand what they like. And that was
Mhm.
different, because I can treat you like how I want to be treated, and that doesn't do anything. But when I treated
right.
you, you wanted to be treated. So I had to sit down and listen to you. What's your likes? What's your dislikes? What, and now treat you accordingly. And if you did that, it would always come around. And so, why do I mean it always came around? Remember, I told you my mom never really held down a job, but she did believe in what we call residual income, right? And she always told us,
Mhm.
if you get residual income, $1 more than your bills, you have freedom. So you don't need a
Mhm.
lot of money to be happy. You just need just enough to cover. And who's going to provide enough? Your Heavenly Father. So
Right.
always treat people right, and it's always going to come back to you. And I've seen my mom take vacation after vacation after vacation after vacation in her later years because of how she treated people early in life.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, she doesn't pay for anything. She need nothing. My mom comes out, she'll leave my dad at home. We go hang out with her friends. You know what I mean?
I love it.
She has made such great friends because of the way she treated people. So that's something that sticks with me all the time. Shanita knows me. It's all about relationships.
Yes.
That's what is so important to me. How you treat people, it will always come back to you. So I thank my mom for that lesson.
I
Fact.
like that. When I
Okay.
think about that, that'll keep a marriage together too. Can I say that again? If you treat your spouse how they need to be treated or
Mhm.
they want to be treated, you're going to stay together. A lot of people don't understand that,
Mhm.
particularly in the marriage relationship. It applies everywhere. But if you get to know your spouse and you understand what they need and you give them that, you're going to stay connected.
Love me how I want to be loved,
Right.
not how you're willing to love me.
Understand my love language. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was just some
Awesome.
great coaching tips right there for anybody that's watching that's married. They want to know how to stay together. Learn your spouse. So
And
two.
and it's so funny because I learned from mom because, like I said, they've been married 38 years, and I'm going on 23 years. So it certainly is something worth duplicating, and I
Yes,
love them for that. Yeah.
that's a blessing.
Awesome. That is a blessing.
You said 38 years or 58 years?
Oh, 58. I'm sorry. You're right. 58. Look at me. I'm
Yes.
all messed up.
Yes.
58 years.
8 years.
Actually, I'm taking years away from them, y'all. It's 60 this year. They
Oh,
just hit
60.
60 this year.
What?
We celebrated 58 2 years ago. They just hit 60 this month. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's a blessing.
That
Yes.
is.
So happy
That need to be
anniversary.
in Jet magazine. But they
Yes.
don't, I don't even think they make Jet no more. But if they did, that your parents would need to be there. That's
That story.
beautiful.
Yes.
So
Thank
two.
you.
Yes,
Two.
thank you. A piece of
Um,
advice to
um, so I'm going through my head, and the most outstanding trait that I learned from my mom is that she never procrastinated anything.
I love that.
She's very active, and when she want to do something, she does it right away.
No
I'm the opposite of
procrastination.
her. I always procrastinate my stuff, even when I was in school in college. I always like when the exams coming up. I always waited, to the last minute, and probably stay up like until 2, 3 a.m. to
Studying.
study. But my
But you know,
mom is not like that. She would prepare for it like weeks before it, or to
right.
prepare for everything. And when she wants to do something, she would do it right away, like
But
right away. Sometimes, like she tells me, "You gotta put your clothes in the washing machine," and then I said, "Okay, I'll do it later, mom." And when I turn around, she already did that.
But let me say this to you. You're getting better at that because I gave you some advice about going to the bank and adding a POD on your bank account. And what did you
Oh
do?
yeah.
I gave you those instructions and you went to the bank on that Saturday and added a POD on your bank account. You did not procrastinate.
Yeah, I'm
Get
getting
into it.
better. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you for that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm getting better. I don't hold up my stuff like for a long time now. I try to do as soon as I can. So
yes,
that's the most important trait, I think, for everyone. If you want to be succeeded in life, in work, and
don't
even
procrastinate.
yeah, and like moments change, so you never know what's going to happen the next moment. So if
That's
you
right.
love someone, say so now, and
Mhm.
you might not see the person again.
That's
Yeah.
right. Good.
And so
Good. Good. That's
yeah,
good.
so that's the thing I learned from my mom.
All
Oh,
right.
that's
Thank
beautiful
you.
too. Thank you for
Angie,
sharing.
last but certainly not least.
Yeah, I was just really everything everybody was saying was resonating with me about my own mom. But there, there's one thing she and my dad always said. So Jared, my dad retired as the assistant fire chief out at NAS civil service, and but early in his career, early in their marriage, um, the firemen would all sit around talking about their finances, how broke they were. And my papa would never join in the conversation. He just sat there and would not talk about finances. So the firemen all thought that mom and papa were wealthy, that they had a lot of money because he never talked about finances. He said they could have had $5 in the bank, but they never knew that. So they said, you don't talk about finances with people. What's yours is yours, and you don't go talking about it, and people just, they don't know what you do or don't have. That it's your business, what you have. So um, I just thought it was always funny that they thought that they were wealthy people when they didn't have a dime to their name at that
Because that's
time.
their business.
But
That was their business.
right.
I
So
love
that's
that.
something we grew up with, was that you don't go around talking about your finances with people. So
That's an
Awesome.
interesting. That's an interesting take. I remember that too. But let me tell you what I have been sharing with people
hmm
lately is information on a high yield online savings account, or just trying to get people to start thinking about ways to make their money work, whether it's through investments or stocks and bonds or whatever, but really trying to make people understand the importance of generating residual income, or just making your money work for you
hmm
so that you can live off the interest. So
Yes.
I've been very intentional about sharing what I've learned, but I understand the point that dad made, because it is your business
hmm
and you
Well,
don't want.
I think that's different than a bunch of firemen sitting around complaining and gossip, talking money, money, money. You're trying to, that is helping
Staying
people invest
positive too.
and yeah,
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
when they're
Mhm.
just sitting around just whining about what they don't have.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
then also, Angie, what I took away from it too was giving your dad's role and being a leader, as well as he had to, lead by that example by not being that way, but also with your mother, still passing that on. I know as a woman or as a wife, there may have been times I might have been a little worried, but not having that reflect,
Mhm.
having that confidence that things are going to work out, and then also just not sharing it. I think that's a good
Right.
way to handle
Mm-hmm,
your finances.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because everybody don't need to know everything.
Exactly. Exactly.
Can I
Exactly.
add something? Can I add something there?
Yes.
Because that
Yeah.
Angie, what you just mentioned, and I was just sharing this with my son the other day, telling how, and I know we're talking about moms, but it reminded me what you just said, Angie, about my dad too, that he he would always say, as I mentioned, he was on a very basic income labor worker, right? But you never heard him ever say, I'm broke or I don't have money. Whenever we will ask him for, it was six of us, and he sent us all through private school, all to college, all of that. And he paid for that. How? I don't know, but he
Mm-hmm.
paid for it. But whenever we asked him for money and he didn't have, we figure he didn't have it, he would say, I don't have any change. He would never say I'm broke. He would never, he said, well, I don't have any change right now, and we would, that's all he had to say, and would
Mhm.
okay.
And
And
I
when
bet, was
he
that extra? Did he mean like extra?
To spare.
to
No,
spare.
he would not claim not having money.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
He never claimed broke, and I tell my son this, and I sometimes I tell my husband this. I said he never claimed being broke. You know how you hear people, and
Yes.
you were saying, in the fire department,
Manifestation.
Angie, they
Yes.
say, "Oh man, I'm broke. I don't have any money," and it's like
Mhm.
you bring that on yourself, right?
Manifest it. Right.
Right. So he would never claim being broke. He would just say, "I don't have any change." It's just
I
he
like
didn't
that.
have the money. He didn't have the money,
Hmm.
but he wouldn't say that.
Right.
So when Angie, you started talking, it immediately put me in the mind of how my dad used to say, "I don't have any change," but it's just because at that time he didn't have the money, and he
Yeah.
wouldn't say, "I don't have it."
I
So,
like that
Staying
anyways,
private.
because words
yeah,
are
and
powerful.
it's all about keeping very private. Whenever he would give us money, he would go in a closet and he would count without none of us knew how what he had whenever he did have it.
Mhm.
So he was just very private about his money
Yeah.
always.
Yes.
So
It,
Well, I know. Yes, Jared, go ahead.
it's funny, y'all, you guys are talking about that, and I wanted to bring it back to my mom's because my mom's was very much like that, but it wasn't with money. It was with the marital problems. And I think that was so important. Like 60 years, and we never knew that my parents had issues.
Hmm.
And they had them because every marriage has them.
Right.
Every marriage has them, and I wouldn't know it, and I didn't know until I was having my marital issues, and I would go to my parents, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay, well,
Hmm.
like welcome to the club." Like I'm like, "What do you mean you were going through this?" And moms and they explained to me. She said, at the time, she said, what was her word? She said, "Bad times don't last if you have a good heart."
I
and
love that.
and what she meant by that was she, even though they were having their problems, as long as their heart was right, they knew that they would get through it. So no reason to add and to include other people into it, if that made sense,
Hmm.
because
It does.
your family cannot adjust when you adjust it. When the times get
Yes.
back good, your family's still thinking about the bad. They're gonna keep reminding
Yes.
you about the bad. And so my
Yes.
mom, they did a great job at that. Like I don't remember in all those years hearing my father and my mother argue. The kids argued way more than my parents did. And it's amazing having 11 kids, but come to find out when I was older, they did have the disagreements.
Hmm.
They did have their challenges, some real
Hmm.
life challenges. But as a family, my mom did a great job at protecting us and keeping our family safe. So I thank her for that. And I just think that
Yes.
was an amazing accomplishment by her.
Jared, that is
Yes.
exactly the same as mine, and I feel like our moms were cut by some very similar cloth because everything
Mm.
you said, I'm just like, no, that's mine, mom.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
my mom.
I felt that too, because I grew up not seeing my parents fuss and fight, but I'm
Mhm.
sure they had their challenges, right?
Mhm.
But we
Yes,
didn't see that. I saw them work as a team. I
right.
saw them sit down and write their bills together. I saw them sit down and talk about whatever. But I'm sure behind those closed doors, it was no fussing and fighting that we visibly saw. But I'm sure there were some conversations that had to be had.
Mhm.
Right.
That's
I
why I
think.
honor and I love marriage because I saw marriage in a different way
Mhm.
than a lot of people saw it. And
Mhm.
so, yes, I do agree with you, Jared. You shouldn't be telling people about your issues because, yes, they will be still mad at Bob over here because you told them something
Yep.
that Bob
Mhm.
did and you're over it and you're wondering why they're looking at him with the side eye
Yep.
because you shared it. So we have to be
Mhm.
very careful about that in relationships for sure. But I want to just say, it's after 8. I want to just say thank you all so much for sharing this moment to celebrate your wonderful mothers. And I want to give you guys an opportunity to have a closing remark. I know, Angel, if there's a piece of advice that you want to share, please share that with the audience once they all go around and give their final closing remarks
Cool.
briefly. And then I want you to share your closing thoughts. But I want to just say thank you again. I didn't get to go change clothes and dress all up, but it's okay. I just arrived back in town from San Antonio, and it life goes on. You have to adapt and adjust, and I did just that. So thank you all for being present.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shanita, for the opportunity to co-host today. I'm gonna go around the room and everybody, if you can keep your closing remarks about 60 seconds. We're gonna just get a closing remark. And if you want have any businesses or anything that you like to promote at this time, definitely mention them. I'll start with Carrie.
Right. Well, closing remarks regarding my mom. She did teach me resilience, and unlike you guys who didn't see the parents fight and things like that, I didn't. I can't say that I saw my parents fight, but I definitely got to know in the loop. My parents would say, "Oh, we're having a disagreement right now."
Mhm.
I got to see the speed bumps, and
Mhm.
that taught me that in order to go the whole distance, you have to go through the speed bumps, and you can't
Yes.
avoid them. So I'm more
Good.
equipped now to experience those kinds of things and to know that it's going to happen, and you just have to be ready for it and have a hopeful mindset to get through it. So resilience, resilience, resilience. Your
I love
present does not dictate your future, and your past does not dictate any of things coming. So always remember that.
it. Thank you. So well
I
said.
love that.
Thank you.
Yes. Resilience.
I
Bounce
think I would love your mom, Carrie.
Yes. Yes. She is a sweetie.
Aw. All right, who
Two
would like to?
closing remarks.
Closing remark is that there's a saying that my mom keeps saying to me, that you have to take good care of yourself in order to take good care of others.
Mm. Mm.
So you have to, you know, be happy and take good care of your health and be healthy in order to, be able to take care of others when they need it. So that's my mom, and she's great, and she's my idol, and I keep learning from her every day. So thank you for the Lord, and thank you everyone, for me to have this opportunity that I can talk a little bit about my mom, and she's always a best friend to me. Yeah,
Yes. Oh, when
Thank you
you
for
think about
sharing.
your mom, my heart just melts. Thank you too.
yeah.
Mm. That was
Cannot
my
say
mom.
enough about her.
Yes. Oh, so blessed.
Thank you. What about you, Angie? Any closing remarks?
Um, well, I guess respect. I grew up respecting my mom. Um, we had our challenges, but when she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer when she was 80,
Mm.
and the the resilience, the strength, the fight I saw that lady go through um, for the year and a half. The boy, I had 2 children left in, well, 2 young adults left in that were still with me, and we moved back home with mom and dad so I could help dad take care of her. So I had a year and a half with her um, here, and I was able to, really thank her for everything she's done for me throughout my whole life, and just help her to move on to, when it was time to go.
Transition peacefully.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
just I live every day to make her proud, because I'm still here taking care of Papa now,
Mhm.
um, because he's still grieving, and it's just he's going down fast. So
Mm-hmm.
um, just trying to just be the person that she was is um, I just every day try to hope she's looking down, to
Oh,
make her
And I'm
proud.
sure she is. I'm sure she is so
definitely.
proud of you. Just the thought that you are there with your papa still, helping him and going through, the rest of his life with him. I'm sure she is just like, that's my girl.
Continue to let her live
You
through you,
know?
Angie.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank
Yes. That's a
Thank you for
beautiful story.
sharing.
Mm. Raquel?
Yeah, so the final, I guess, advice that I would give in taking it from a mom is to always check in on people. Um, you never know what someone is going through.
Facts.
Social media right now um, creates a facade of a life that you think everyone is just doing the living the best life ever, but behind those screens they may be battling something. It
Mhm.
could be something with her health, it could be something with her relationships, work, anything. I have on my tagline on my email, and Shanita, you may have read it. It says, you know, be be kind, speak kindly, be kind to people because you never know what kind of battle they're fighting. And that's something that my mom has taught me throughout the years. I said she's always check in on the people that she knows. The growing up, she would go if she heard that someone in our town was sick, whether or not she knew them, she would go and visit, and she would pray for them. And she never drove. She did not own a car. She never drove. She will walk whatever length of distance it was, she would walk to go and visit someone because she heard that they were sick. Now that she's here in the States, and of course all of her friends are back home, she would still call back her friends and the people that she knows. Anybody that she has a phone number for, she's going to call them at least once a month to check on them and see how they're doing. How are the kids? How is the family? Um, and that's something I said, I need to do a better job in doing that, to making those care calls. And it's not just when you need something, but just call and said, hey, I'm calling
Just
and
thinking
see how
about
you're
you.
I'm
doing.
thinking of
How is the
you.
family? I'm thinking of you.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's amazing what sometimes you hear when you do things like that. And that's something that she has taught me. She has a little phone book that where she has everybody's phone number, and she goes through the phone book and says, oh, so
Sounds
and
very
so, I
familiar.
haven't talked to her for a month, let me call her. And I was like,
Yes.
I wish I was like that.
Mhm.
I would probably be a more successful real estate agent if I was
They
if I was to check
relationship.
on people, if I was
Right.
to check on people. And I
Relationships.
was like,
Mhm.
and it's building relationship. And she continues, she has nothing to offer. No
Mhm.
one can really, she doesn't need anything for anybody either, but it's just checking on people,
It's the
building
thought.
relationships, and
Yes.
check in because you never know what someone is going through.
I actually just saw one of my widow friends post a post just yesterday, and she said people say you don't necessarily have to talk to people often. Um, you'll get around to talking to them eventually. But she lost a friend because so much time in between. They didn't get to talk more recent, and the friend passed away. When the call came on her phone from her friend's number, it was her daughter calling to tell her my mom passed away. And so
Yeah.
she was saying, call your friends and talk to them more often. Just
Tomorrow is not
because
promised.
the next moment
Tomorrow
is
is
not
not
coming.
promised. Exactly. So, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
check
then
on
there
people.
comes regrets. So that way we live without regrets.
Live without
Yes.
regrets. I like that.
Mhm.
Gentlemen,
Okay. So,
thank you,
thank
Raquel.
you everyone
Yeah.
for this and closing remarks. Um, I would like to say this about my mom because she is very joyful heart. There's no dull moment with my mom, and I think she will be a good comedian. Always say she cracks all up, and you can barely. I don't remember seeing her having a grudges with anyone. So she's always smiling, laughing, playing, and she get the job done when she need to. But one thing about my mom that you can't take from she does not like when someone lie. You can get away with anything in as much you are truthful. Don't lie. But if you
Woo.
lie, I bet in the middle of the night she's gonna come with a cane and wake you up. So that part is something that I really want to talk about in what is going on in America now. You see people they were talking about don't touch the keys, don't do this to the keys. But when they are going for a game, they talk sense into their head. You don't want them to talk to them when they are in the classroom, but if they are going for a sport, the coach doesn't talk to them the way they talk to them in the classroom. They sit right if they are going for their sport game. They talk to them the way they need to talk to them. But I don't know what is going on in the classroom nowadays because nobody want. Don't talk to my kids. You can't talk to my kids like that. but they are playing the coach talk to them the way they need to talk to them, not in an abusive way. So I think that we need to bring that back. The mothers, the way it used to be back in the days. I was at hospital one day and I saw a case, one little kid behaving and the mother just said, "Eh," you know, eh, the way the mother, just the reaction, the kids sit, and there's another case that they are just playing, going everywhere and disturbing in the clinic. So I really want to say that our mother, is the way they brought us up is product that you are seeing. So to all
Respect.
mother out
Teach them.
there, they are doing it the way it should be done. I say kudos to them. And to young coming up, we pray for them.
You're
Thanks
right.
so much. That's what
You're
I
right.
want to say.
Because it's called discipline. There isn't the discipline is different today. And so kids do get away with a lot more than they did when we were growing up. And so we see a lot of crime, and we see a lot of all kinds of things that is heartbreaking. So you're right. We do need to go back to some of those old fashioned values with our children. But Jared, thank you, David.
Yeah. First of all, again, thank you, Angel, for hosting, and Shanita for inviting me on. It's an honor, honestly, truly, and to listen to Tu and Angie and Carrie and Raquel and David. It's been a
It's
real
been great. I've enjoyed
memory
this.
lane, like really.
Yeah.
So thank y'all so much. And I think about my mom. I always say she's like the ultimate caregiver. And that's what I describe as the ultimate caregiver. Who's we feel like she sacrificed a life, but she doesn't feel like that at all. It's just who she is, right? And so after raising 11 kids, age range maybe 20-25 year difference. When they all got out the house, then she started taking where she should have been free and living life with her husband. She took on our great grandmother and aunt, and then they lived until about 101 years old or something like that. So she literally took care of them. And then when they transitioned, and then she took on her sister,
Wow.
and her sister's still here, but dad got sick really bad, and she was there for dad, and throughout it all, she always did it with a smile. She never complained about it. She's just the ultimate caregiver. And again, I see it benefiting because my mom has to worry about nothing now. Like literally, no matter what happens, we take care of her and her friends take care of her. At times, even now, we'll send my mom some money and she wants to give it to some of the brothers and sisters that aren't really doing too well. Like, listen, mom, I'm not working for them, okay?
Okay.
Right.
So
This is
we're
for
not
you.
working for them. But my mom just has that caregiver attitude to the point where we had to just leave her alone and just say, if it makes you happy,
Do as
I'm
you
giving this
please.
to you. Whatever you do with it is on you. And we had to come to that. But she's just the ultimate caregiver. And the reason why I say that is because that's the way I live my life now. I thank my mom for that. As a fire sergeant, I take care of my house. A lot of people in the fire department, they're very promotion hungry, which means they'll step and do whatever they can to get on top. Because you only get one or two open doors to do it. But me, I wasn't never raised like that. We're family. We take care of each other. And even if it seems like may not be progressing right away, I know in the long run it's going to come back to me. And as I build my international business as a lifestylepreneur, it's the same thing. We focus more on family. How do we do? It's not about what I can do; it's about what we can do. It's not. And when we live like that, that's what my mom taught me. So I'm forever grateful for my mom. I thank you, Shanita, Dr. Shanita, for definitely inviting us on this call. It's gonna, when I get off this call, y'all know what the first thing I'm about to do?
Call
Call
him.
your mama.
Call your mama.
Call my mama. Call my
And what
mama.
a blessing to be able to
Yeah,
call her.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Jared, let me say this before I turn this over to Angelique to say her final words. Jared he has a travel business. And so Jared just came back from Asia. You were there for how long, Jared?
April 29th is when we took off, and April 10th is when we returned. I mean, May
May
10th is
10th.
when we returned. So
Long
I
time.
don't know the dates.
Yes. I mean, so if you're interested in travel, a travel business, he's got the secret.
Yeah, yeah. I got to see.
So I wanted to share that. So thank you all. So Angelique,
Yes, so if I was to say, just for closing remarks, first, thank you again, everybody, for sharing all these wonderful, memories. As someone who has lost someone who was a mother-like figure, I think one thing that, like Angie said, trying to live up to them, is a tough, pill to swallow, or a high bar to set for yourself. But again, letting them live through you. And, just if there was anything that I did learn from my grandmother and even my mother, is just to believe in yourself. And one, superpower that people always ask, like in an interview, like, what's your superpower? Confidence. Because I feel like if you don't believe in yourself, who else will? And a lot of the times, there were times in my life, especially as I became a mother, because I'm a mother of three. um, I would worry, and I would just worry about things. And I would go to my grandmother for guidance, and she would be like, as long as you did your best, that's all you can do. Pray to the Lord, know that you've done your best. So, I remember one time, I was, just starting out in my marriage, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, Granny. This, and this. And she told me a Bible verse that is actually one of my favorite, and it's Exodus 14:14. Stand still and let the Lord fight for you. And there were times where, as I got older, where I would want to be feisty with my husband, or I would want to go to social media and things like that, and I would just be quiet, and allow the Lord to, give me guidance on how to react, or, how to be his peace, to help give him guidance so he can lead our family. And even with the decisions that I make now, like in my career, because I'm in finance, I work in banking, and I allow myself grace. I don't try to beat myself up on things. If things don't work out for me, I take no as next opportunity. I don't sit around and beat myself up on it. My motto, and one thing that really gets me in life, from which I learned from her, is just not prove them wrong, prove yourself right. So that just goes with believing in yourself, giving yourself enough time to prepare so you even have a better shot at whatever it is you're going towards, and just staying confident. And I was raised by some true, confident, strong women. And one thing I was gonna mention too is, Shanita, your mother, because I knew Shanita's mother as Cousin Bertha, because that's what my grandma used to call her, Cousin Bertha. And I also like to sing. So when I was a little girl, St. John Divine Missionary Baptist Church was, where I grew up in. And I remember Shanita's mother, always hear me sing and stuff like that. And I joined the youth choir. So I'm 5 years old. I'm sharing this memory because I don't know if Auntie Shanita remembers this or not, but I'm getting ready to like lead my first song in church. And I don't know if you ever been to an African American Baptist church, but leading a song in the church is a pretty big deal.
It's a big
Okay, you
deal.
got to have your words together. You got to enunciate. And my first song I ever led in the youth choir was "Shake the Devil Off." So I don't know if anybody knows that song. It's like, shake, 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 shake the devil off. And I was just so nervous because I was so little, and I was like, what am I gonna do in a big congregation of people? And I remember actually being at cousin Bertha's house practicing the song. We had a little video cassette where we were playing the song over and over again. And in that time, it was just her and my grandmother just building me up, helping me build my confidence so I could get in that Sunday youth choir and lead my song. So when you talked about, how strong and empowering she was, even just in little gestures like that, taking 10 minutes out of her time playing this cassette tape while she was folding laundry, that was just so impactful for me, as a young lady coming up. So I wanted to share that memory with you, Shanita, because I don't know if you know about that or remember that memory, but that was one thing. When I think of Bertha McCants, I think of that definitely.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
You're
And
welcome.
I just am humbled. And I will say thank you to all of you all again I try not to get emotional, when you think about your mother, particularly when you don't have them anymore, and you have wonderful memories. But one of the things in closing that I will say that my mom taught me was agape love. And someone said it earlier about forgiveness, learning to forgive, and having unconditional love. I may get with you, I may get with you, but I get over it, right? And so I've learned, there are times sometimes we have to get with people, and I'm not saying do it in a derogatory way. I've grown over the years and I've learned how to have disagreements or tough conversations
Courageous
with
communication.
right, courageous communicate. Right. You have to be courageous to address things head on. Um, but she always taught me how to love unconditional even when you disagree with someone or having, you still have to love them. And so I want to share that with you guys. Always remember to love with the love of God, not with your own capacity, because if we try to love from our own capacity, most of the times we can't. And so we have to learn to get to a different level, a deeper level of love for people, because we never know what they may need. And so I appreciate you guys for sharing memories of your beautiful mother, those who are still living, those who have passed on. Happy Mother's Day to each of you that are
Happy
mothers
Mother's
on
Day,
this show.
everybody.
Thank you. And to everyone watching, happy Mother's Day to you all. And God bless each and every one of you all. And for my guests, please stay seated for just a moment. To everyone else, thank you again for watching. We appreciate your love and your support for the last 3 years and several weeks. We hit 3 years on April the 16th, 2023.
Woo woo.
It is hard to believe that it has been 3 years of educating, entertaining, informing, empowering, and inspiring the audience in some way. I'm grateful for all of the guests that have appeared and shared for these 3 years, and we look forward to many, many more wonderful years. Stay tuned for our next series, which will be in 2 weeks. Actually, no, next week, the 18th, I will have a female lawyer, and we're going to talk law. And I'm really excited to have Miss Tiffany Adams on our show next Thursday. So you guys stay tuned. Remember, I love you, but God loves you most. He loves you best. Peace, love, and joy today and always. And again, to my guests, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.